super excited that you're all joining us. If you can take out your phones and scan this QR code, the goal here is to provide feedback to the founders that are pitching today. And we're going to have a ton of different kinds of founders on today. There's going to be some more seasoned founders like Manu, who's going to blow you all away, and some more nascent founders. It's really part of our mission at Fabric to weave together diverse founders with funding. And as part of that, we wanted to make sure that there was access to even getting in front of founders and funders like all of us here in the room. So we wanted to make sure we were fair and equitable in terms of who showed up in the pitch rooms as well. So you're going to have a pretty interesting and broad range. You are not mandated to provide feedback to everyone who pitches, because I know people will be coming in and out at different times, but please do provide feedback if you can. This is the really meaningful meet for the founders, is getting real-time feedback from prospects and consumers like you to make sure that they can better their pitch and better their product. So your feedback is truly, truly meaningful. And we will be doing a who won the pitch at the end of the entire session. So make sure you stay tuned for that as well. We will be doing this on a quarterly basis. So this is also an opportunity to provide feedback for us. We want to make sure that these pitches are really fun and engaging and you're seeing really cool companies. And so that is what we're up to today. Here's who we're going to take a peek at. We'll talk to Manu with Alpha.io, Emily Pon with AHA, Arnush Fadavi with Bala, Miles Powells with Miles Comfort Food, Natalie Richards with Go Along, and Ana Luisa with Imply. I'm not sure how to pronounce that one, but I'm sure she will tell us. And then we'll have a stretch break at the 3 pitch mark because we want to make sure that we are physically taking care of ourselves as well. So again, take out your phones, make sure you scan the feedback form and provide feedback to our awesome pitchers today. With that, I will jump into a little bit about who we are and what we're here to do. So I'm Laurel Mintz. I am the GP of Fabric VC. Can everyone see me? I want to make sure that I'm pinned appropriately and the tech is working properly. Are we good? Fantastic. All right. Otherwise, I would have to hurt my team. Just kidding. I actually want to thank my team. They've been so fantastic with marketing this firm and this pitch event. Couldn't have done this without each and every one of you. Most of them, I think all of them are on here today. So I want to just give it up for my Elevate My Brand team and the Fabric team. As I mentioned, I'm Laurel Mintz. I'm the GP of Fabric VC, which is all about weaving together diverse founders with the funding that you all need and deserve. I was a corporate M&A attorney in my prior life, took over a family business very young, and then started my first company in 2008, which is a marketing agency called Elevate My Brand. Because of that legal background, a ton of the PE and VC firms had been coming to us for years to market them. One day, one of the GPs was like, you need to go raise a fund. I've never seen someone with better earlier deal flow like some of you on the call today, and the ability to actually control the narrative and to control the success of some of these companies. I said, you were crazy, I'm not doing that. And then of course I executed it because I became singularly obsessed with the idea of creating more equity and more parity in a space that, as we call it, is a little too pale, male, and stale, which I'm sure a lot of you already know. So that's how Fabric was born. We invest with a diverse lens only. So that means queer, BIPOC, and female-led consumer tech with a carve out for future of healthcare and future of workspace. That said, this would not be possible without my incredible board, some of whom are here today. Sarah, do you want to unmute and introduce yourself first?
Hi, I'm Sarah Kazi. I'm a longtime fan of Laurel Mintz and the work that she has done, the body work that she's created, and the impact that she has had on the companies that she's been aligned with over the course of this iteration of her career. With Elevate My Brand. Really excited to be a part of Fabric. I've just a little bit of professional background. I've been in the private and public capital markets since the very late 1990s, mostly on the institutional consulting side and in corporate finance work. I was also an investment banker for a short period of time when I was selling deals like thin film solar cell technology and corn-based plastics in 2005. When nobody wanted to really buy those deals, but sometimes it was like, it's good to be early or it's not so good good to be early. But I run a hybrid business, which is investment banking and asset management, which is centered around women and impact. So that is, and I'm thrilled to be on our board.
We're thrilled to have you. Sarah keeps me aligned. She's the numbers queen and amazing. Thank you so much, Sarah. I know that Stephanie is on, but having some power issues. So we're going to just say thank you to Stephanie Bond. She comes from the private equity side of the world. Kamini Lane, also on our board. She was the former president of Compass Realty and now is at Sotheby's. She has a brand new baby and she just texted me that the baby's screaming. And so she's going to go handle that. Mommyhood first, of course. Vanessa, are you on? Vanessa, can you hear me? I think she'll be joining us later, as will Jahara. Are you on? I know that you were also going to join a little bit late as well. Anyways, just want to say thank you to my board. They're incredible. They are the who's who of power players in this world, from finance to consumer and everyone in between. Thank you so much for that work. And finally, this would not be possible without the support of our sponsors over at Armanino, Jen McCabe and Alicia Baum. Alicia Baum, are you on? I think I saw you earlier. Would you just unmute and share a little bit about Armanino? Thank you so much for taking an early bet on us.
Sure. Armanino, we are one of the top 20 accounting firms in the US. But Jen and I, we're in the consulting part, and we do business outsourcing services where we help small to medium-sized business to grow.
Thank you, Alicia. And again, thank you for taking an early bet on Fabric. All right, time to get into the meat and the reasons that you are all here. I will be monitoring the chat, so please, as the founders are pitching, add your questions, add your feedback. You have the feedback form as well. And then after the 10-minute pitch, I will be integrating those questions live with the founders so that we can get the real-time feedback and answers to your questions also. So with that, I'm going to pass it along to Manu. We'll have a 10-minute timer in the upper right-hand window, and Gigi will be giving you a 1-minute warning in the chat. So please do keep that open. All right, Manu, you have got the stage.
Awesome. Well, let me just share my screen appropriately. It's the Zoom is always on the button that you want to click, you know. So hi everyone, I'm Manu, and as Laurel said, I have been around for a minute in this entrepreneurial life. I've been in the blockchain sphere for almost 10 years, and I've lived many lives and tried many different things. But I am an expert community builder. You know, I think it's very important to understand your talents. And I've managed to translate my many years of experience into Alpha.io. Essentially, what we do at Alpha.io is we connect people, content, and experiences. When you think of customer loyalty, the only industry that seems to have gone remotely close to cracking it is the travel industry, and maybe one company, Starbucks. But how many companies have a budget that size? And what about everything else? What about the water you drink, the events you attend? What happens there? So if you try to start by Googling customer loyalty, what you will find is an extremely fragmented and frankly, a little scary ecosystem. Everybody says that they do things. You can't really understand why. I, as a consumer, have no idea where these points are. Like it's just a mess. And the problem there is they're still heavily reliant on third-party data and cookies, which lead to a very expensive path to communication for the companies in their communities through social media, which we know is getting harder and harder to track. And we know that 80% of consumers want a loyalty program that allows them to easily redeem their rewards. If you look at, you know, what Erewhon did so well, people pay just to have a 10% cash back. And there's another statistic which is really powerful for sports. 70% of sports fans say that they see no value whatsoever in current solutions. So in this ecosystem, we brought Alpha.io into existence. What is it that we do? We're gamifying life by unleashing the most powerful community building software that will allow for ecosystems to grow exponentially while becoming less reliant on social media for customer engagement, building first-party data and giving the customer best-in-class content and experience, leading to unparalleled rates of attrition and consequently ROI. Alpha.io connects the dots from beginning to end. And we made it really simple to connect to our network with a one-click wallet creation via email or phone number after scanning any Alpha.io QR code, tapping an NFC, or clicking a link. Enter the brand's experience, which is a white labeled wallet that operates as the brand's punch card that never expires and you never lose. You've heard of AI and AR, but what are these technologies missing to actually operate safely? They're missing an authenticity layer. That layer is Alpha.io. Alpha.io is the backbone solution that connects all the dots from beginning to end. We create a safe ecosystem to launch augmented reality content that can be gated via paywalls and age gates and locked, so it can only be distributed within that brand's ecosystem. We authenticate every action on chain with full transparency, with royalty distribution to content creators and endless data points from beginning to end in the product journey. We allow for the brand to onboard clients anywhere, straight from the physical product, physical event, gamify activities such as scavenger hunts, their website, Shopify, subscription. The possibilities are virtually endless. And our infrastructure allows for brands to distribute prizes, VIP experiences, free products, and at the end of the day, make data-driven decisions which allow for maximum engagement, unparalleled results, and we estimate up to 7 times more customer spend once they are properly engaged. And this is all due to our first-party data acquisition that allows for these communities to really grow exponentially. So through the Alpha.io product, companies are able to generate custom reports, such as heat map analysis, drive traffic to physical retailers, geofence claims and activations, look within the wallets and see where the client has actually engaged with the product. What events has he attended? Where has he been? What retailers is he actually going to purchase in? And this way, communicate directly with them through the wallets, send prizes, and do a lot more. We launched at the beginning of 2022, and since then, we've onboarded 30 new companies. We got 3 more this week, so I have to update this slide. Our gross margins are 93%. We're on track for our first $1 million in revenue, and we have 17 million in our stacked pipeline. Our product converts 40% plus. What does that mean? On average, 40% of the people that scan our QR codes, regardless of where they are, end up in our ecosystem, end up giving us their data and end up being engaged because they want those amazing perks. Our product, on average, 4x's impressions versus number of attendees, meaning at New York Fashion Week, if there were 1,000 people at an event, 4,000 people were talking about it on the internet and coming back to our wallet. And we've been featured in the New York Times, Vogue Business, Wired, and a lot more. The press really loves us. So what's next for us? We're launching the Alpha.io Art Passport, which serves as a standalone product for companies to be able to deploy scavenger hunts. We usually like to lead by example. So a lot of our marketing initiatives show how the product can be used. So this marketing initiative is not different. However, we're estimating that in that 1 week during Art Basel, we're going to be driving about 500,000 eyeballs into our wallet. And we've already onboarded a number of brands that are paying listing fees to simply be featured. So what are we doing? We're creating a curated experiential solution to drive traffic to physical retailers that can then be used by every single one of our clients so that they, with no code, can create their own scavenger hunts and benefit from this really, really powerful umbrella. So we're creating a network of vetted events under our umbrella and setting the standard for other companies to be able to list their own events. And the fingerprints on this map function as a blue check mark, vetted by Alpha. This year, we actually hit, we were cash flow positive for the first time. We're cash flow neutral by the end of this year. And that just kind of like demonstrate that even in a terrible, terrible, terrible bear market, you can still build quality products that have a place. And, you know, we're creating, and our first addressable markets are beverages, where we have our biggest concentration. And through beverages, we're looking at the sports industry, which is a $1.3 trillion market. So pretty big market. We've raised $2 million historically. We're raising an additional 3 through a seed round. And our team is the real jewel behind the product. We have 10 plus years in Web3 experience. I stumbled upon blockchain while building our first business, an art business, and that's how we kind of like found the technology. Our CTO comes from Apple and has built mobile applications for massive scale in TV and streaming. And we've been together for almost 10 years as well. Our chief strategy officer sold his ad agency to WPP for hundreds of millions of dollars, and then decided to become a musician and understood the problem in the creative economy. That's where we joined forces. And we have incredible investors in our cap table and advisors that open doors to literally anyone. And that leads to, you know, our strong family of friends, family, partners, and clients. You'll see a lot of logos here that you recognize. There's a lot of projects that are under NDA, so we can't discuss a lot, but we have a lot coming and a lot being deployed in the next couple of months. And I thought I'd walk you guys through one activation that we did for New York Fashion Week. So part of our activation was also in the Hamptons for Hamptons Fashion Week, and all of the streets in that kind of like main area in Southampton, so Ralph Lauren or Villager, subscribed to the program.
Yes.
And so basically, this game that we created for New York Fashion Week in Hamptons was called Sip and Collect, right? So you'd walk into one of the participating stores, be it Ralph Lauren or Villager, etc. You drink a glass of champagne, scan a QR code, and you grab the digital version of that glass of champagne. Now the store knows who you are, why you stopped by, etc. And the person at the end of the drinking game that collected the most digital champagne glasses won a $5,000 swag bag. So there were clear incentives built in, and it was, you know, the result shows we 5x the number of impressions. The stores had 800 new users that came through in a day. They spent 2 times more money in that activation. So it just shows that a properly incentivized client will spend more money. And a storefront that has a lot of data can make data-driven decisions. So I know we're at time. I'll leave you guys with my final slide, which is, you know, my virtual self that has a very important message for anyone here investing in women. And this way you can also try out the product.
Awesome. Thank you, Manu. And thank you for being the first ever pitcher at Fabric's pitch event. So thank you so much. If you have questions, please add it into the link here, into the group chat rather, or raise your hand and unmute and make sure that you ask the questions that you're interested in. This is a really interesting product. And Manu, I've known you for a while now. Originally, you were targeting art and fashion. It seems like you're still going down that path, but you really pivoted to focus on beverage. How did you decide to make, or why did you decide to make that leap?
So the infrastructure of the product is pretty universal, right? I actually have it open here. So it's, you see the dashboards here. It's, you know, it's a traditional SaaS company. It can be used for a lot of different things. Art for us is just a market that we learned a lot, but it doesn't really scale. So, you know, I'll do a scavenger hunt any day with, you know, actual CPG clients and brands that, you know, have the scale and have physical retailers, but it's just not in our, it's not important for us. It was a first market. It was a first company that we learned a lot through. Fashion, we have an exclusive fashion partner and marketing partner that does every single fashion activation for us, Meta Burnett, and they're the ones that brought us New York Fashion Week, Hamptons Fashion Week. New York Fashion Week was so happy with what we did. The next year they gave us 3 times the budget. And so, you know, it just shows that kind of like a properly incentivized client is a happy client. But at the end of the day, we also have to focus on the areas that we're best at and delegate as much as we can. And that's kind of like part of the Alpha.io ethos. We'll hold hands and we'll help a client through an MVP because then they stay on. And it's part of the reason why we've had 0 churn. And it just happened that, you know, the beverage companies just kept coming back. There's a lot of benefits for using a blockchain for identification within beverages, because you can do the age gate up front. And then once they show up, for example, to a wine club, et cetera, all they have to do is present that membership card and they can be poured and they're properly identified. So there's a lot that goes into kind of like deciding that market. Sports was always very central for us, but we know that the timeline of a sports project is so much longer, and it really helps to have a beverage sponsor already attached because they're usually already in that stadium. We're already integrating as well with Crypto.com Arena, but we're coming in through the parking lots. So we come in from several different angles, and the idea is that the software is very powerful, and you know the reports can be generated in real time, and a clever marketing team will have much better ideas on how to use it than I, but I'm just here to kind of like suggest some basic starting points.
Yeah, Venture Capital Consulting asks specifically to that question, have you approached ad agencies to sell this as a service? Has there been like a cross-promotional integration there?
Not yet, but it's in the pipeline. We've spoken to a
Fantastic.
lot of marketing agencies, but less ad agencies. But obviously, for ad agencies, this changes everything because they can actually cover the ROI of a campaign since we only charge per active monthly user, and they'll know who is actually interacting with the product, who scanned their campaign, who came to a physical event, even through product donations, since we can onboard from the physical product. Like this is, a great example. Every time you drink a can of vape water, if it was donated or if you purchased it, you still have, you scan this QR code and now they know who you are.
Thank you. Sarah said, really great prize. Interested in seeing further data on market impact for clients beyond immediate impressions. How are you translating impressions to dollars? I guess is the question.
So we work with the marketing teams, right? And at the end of the day, like how marketing translates to revenue is still a number that stays within the company. But we know, for example, that, this is one of our early clients, that their active users have more than quadrupled in the past 12 months. So there's more people using it. We know through our point systems that, more people are spending money and redeeming more points. So there's a lot that we can go into, but I can't reveal a lot without breaking customer privacy, especially in a call with 60 people. But we can talk about that later.
Understood. It sounds like you consider yourselves to be kind of top of funnel in terms of driving visibility and awareness, and then it's up to the agencies or the brands to convert down to that sale or whatever their conversion metric is.
Absolutely. We're 100% top of funnel. There's obviously a lot of automation that can go in for once they're in the ecosystem, but think of this as a tool to get people off of social media and for the brands to be able to like create their own communities and manage those communities as they see please. So for us, we want it to be a fully frictionless onboarding process so that we can onboard as much as that brand's community as possible, but then the brand can go ahead and run as many campaigns as possible. So for example, here, when I open up a user, I can look into their specific wallets and I can see where they've interacted with the product. Where, for example, I have 7 banana points. Every time I get a banana point, they donate 5 cents to clean water programs and they cancel a plastic bottle. So I know, and I attended the Art Basel event because this is the Art Basel commemorative. So they can immediately send me a prize or communicate through any of these assets through metadata changes. So it's building a long-term kind of like bond as well with the client.
Yeah, I like that you've kind of pivoted your messaging to be more community focused. I've seen your journey, so it's been really impressive. The last question, if you could answer quickly, is how easy is it to set up the wallet? That was a question from Alicia at Armanino.
Literally 20 seconds. So we have a wallet hub, which looks just like this, where we, charge the implementation fee if there is one, or not, or if we just set up an instance. And then once they have the wallet, they can customize the whole thing here. So they can edit the logos, they can add a dark mode, a main mode, whatever color, banners, how they want people to sign up, SMS, email, how they want to receive payments, if they want to connect to Stripe. And they can also set up all of their different commemoratives, assets, whatever you want to call them, with no code. So they can set up a badge, which is a point, for example, a thing, which is a one of a kind, access, which is already geofenced. And so the geofence is Google. You literally drop a Google location here and say, this experience is only available here in this radius. It's really, really simple. And I think that's part of the reason why we have zero churn. We haven't had a client leave us.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you, Manu. We've got to move on, but really appreciate you being a first, and you crushed it as always. So appreciate you.
Thanks,
Lovely. Guys. All righty, moving on. Our next pitch is Emily Penn with Ama. Is it Ama? I want to make sure I'm pronouncing it properly. Ama, perfect. So Emily, take it away.
Hi, thanks for having me with this, by the way. My girlfriend introduced me to Fabric, and she was saying, oh, this is a great opportunity. Please apply. So thank you. All righty. I'm Emily, the founder of AMA. I'm here to speak about changing the future of waiting. Uh-oh. Let's see. Is it clicking? I'm
If you
sorry.
click the down arrow, it's okay. If you click the down arrow, it looks like
Oh,
it'll,
I was
there you go.
clicking the right. Thank you so much. In today's world, individuals are grappling with unprecedented levels of stress, loneliness, and mental health challenges. Existing solutions often lack the innovation and depth needed to address these issues effectively. So traditional mental health approaches fall short in engaging users and fail to capitalize on the full spectrum of sensory experiences that could contribute to lasting positive behavioral change. There's a clear gap in the market for a transformative platform that seamlessly integrates multi-sensory content, harnessing the power of storytelling, scent therapy, and visual therapy to reshape mindsets and bring about a paradigm shift in mental wellness. This is a critical problem AMA is poised to solve. AMA's on the way to change the way we approach healthcare visitation experiences on a human design level. We're here to create VR content for people in medical waiting rooms and license stories out to waiting rooms. What we do bring will be a sense of serenity to users in a portable way. What we do is creating a mental health platform that improves the quality of waiting rooms by empowering patients and medical practices through our AR/VR multisensory storytelling. In loving memory of my late grandma, affectionately known as Amma, Amma was born from a deeply personal journey. Witnessing Amma's resilience during a coma and the subsequent challenges left a profound impact on me. The experience inspired me to prioritize mindful content consumptions, steering away from distractions and seeking inspiration from individuals who embodied grit and resilience. Amma's a tribute to a transformative experience, a sanctuary named Aroma Haven, Mindful Ambiance. It's not just about personal growth, it's a conduit for social change. Partnering with nonprofits, AMA spreads their stories to improve mental health, empowering missions and facilitating effective fundraising. I envision a world where everyone, regardless of their background, can access resources for mental well-being and unlock their full potential. This is a journey we can all embark on together. So why now? There's been a pervasive influence of random and distracting digital content, such as social media, which contributes to the heightened stress and reduced mindfulness. Conventional mental wellness platforms often overlook the potential of multisensory approaches, missing out on the powerful impact of scent therapy and immersive experiences. So what we want is to create fundraising strategies that we're lacking a connection between storytelling, content creation, and impactful fundraising, which limited the potential for sustainable support for nonprofits. However, with AMA, we have yet to really fully leverage the potential of VR and AR for mental wellness, missing out on innovation solutions for transforming mindsets. We have a chance to progress and provide an option that helps people further along their mental health journey, as well as the provider's journey. Our team has the right background designing and prototyping product development to create this system we're talking about. We've designed biosensors, AI glasses, VR glasses, AI luggage, and indoor navigation apps. We've built hardware, software, and have both B2B and B2C experience. I've had the privilege of getting my nose trained for 4 years. I've also gained international corporate HR experience, led global teams, worked on M&As, developed tech and scent products, and managed data analytics. What we're seeing right now is that the global digital ads market currently stands at $626 billion, intending to reach $700 billion, with the US contributing nearly 43% to this figure. In the US healthcare pharma sector alone, $18 billion is allocated to ads. AMA sees potential to engage corporate sponsors to our nonprofit stories, particularly in medical waiting rooms. So even by capturing around 5%, our SOM can reach $1 billion. This outlook is supported by the growing trend in corporations investing in purpose-driven advertising and the increasing importance of mental health in healthcare marketing. However, if you include all verticals globally, you can hit close to $1.3 trillion market. So what we do today is we create the VR AR content for nonprofits. We license and host the stories to their marketing events and medical waiting rooms that we curtail and find for them. We found the trifecta in VR. Entertainment meets infotainment means edutainment. We're meeting the 3 pillars of engagement, and scientists have discovered that it takes approximately 400 repetitions to build a new synapses in the brain, unless it is done in play, in which it can be done in 10 to 20 repetitions, which all leads to deeper impacts on memory retention. What we do is having the users put on the VR headset, having the AR or VR objects emerge in front of the user, and the mindful story begins, in this case with Claire and her cystic fibrosis journey. Users can then detect the butterflies and unlock each chapter of her story. Specifically, butterflies were then chosen because when she passed away, they let go a bunch of monarch butterflies in the funeral. And the option that we wanted to include is a specific butterfly will open up so that people can detect a scent therapy and breathwork exercises. We'll specifically choose geranium because that was the one fragrance or essential oil she kept using when she was hospitalized. With our traction, we've had about 6 of the nonprofits come together to create stories for them, 3 of which right now we will complete by the end of spring in March 2024. And with that said, we'll also be going to Nepal to film for the Unati Foundation. The product that we have had traction with is we've had over $10,000 worth of crowdfunding money created. We've had some focus group and incoming white paper that we'll be writing together with 1,000-person psychology clinic. And then we've also found distributors and designers for our upcoming products with the design kits. These are some of the people that have helped me along the way in my journey right now and are always a phone call away helping us design our product and service. But how we make money right now is that we get our revenue going beyond just creating content. Not only will we make money from hosting the content, we'll also make money from sponsored ads. So by offering a subscription model to the hospitals and clinical centers, we'll also give hospitals our hardware as a trial period to acquire more users. And lastly, we'll also make money from the consumers who like options and novel experiences, who can buy and support our fragrances and gift off the AMA experiences. So with our licensing content creation model, we have suggested 3 different tiers. One, if they want us to create the content exclusively on our platform, the nonprofit can pay us $10K. If they want us to create a YouTube video or some sort of social media to push along the marketing for fundraising with their story, it will be a tier 2 package. And then the tier 3 would be if they also want the content on their own social media channels, not just through our AMA platform. Right now, we have our roadmap built to sign on the 10 nonprofits, create the 3 films, and make sure that we have enough created with the VR PR boxes for the nonprofit gala that we'll be hosting next April with Claire's Place Foundation. We'll also be able to create different marketing events with the other 2 stories that we're putting together. These are just our opportunities of growth down the road. If we do get fundraising, how we can move faster and deploy better scaling. The competition today that we see, there are no services. Nobody has brought all of our design elements together into one concept, and specifically for medical waiting rooms. For example, Trip designs AR and VR content, but they don't have a scent element or marketing partnerships. So what makes Alma unique is that it brings all these modalities together in one service. And even if it's not for everyone, there's something for someone. And today we're raising $500K because we would love to cover some of the upcoming tech lead and filmmaker costs, efficacy tests with R&D, the legal fees with medical providers and nonprofits right now, as well as hire a project manager to manage our content. Thank you so much.
Well done, Emily. Thank you so much. Just a great example of an earlier stage company in a similar space. Please add your questions in the chat. I certainly have a lot myself. Can you just double click a little bit? I understand the sensory conversation and the need and how better people adjust and can connect. And it's just, there's a lot of different moving parts, not to mention the fact that someone needs to actually physically put on a headset, which has a little bit of slow adoption typically because it's a physical product, and the hospitals will be required to then purchase the VR headsets as well as the content. Can you just clarify a little bit about how that breakdown would go?
Yeah, so we actually created 3 tiers of headsets, the cheapest standard and then a more premium type. So we call it basic, standard, premium. And the basic ones are actually one-time headsets where you slide your phone in. And so you can actually advertise on these headsets. It's cheaper, cleaner. The mid-tier headsets, of course, are around like $40 to $120 range, and it depends where you want to put it as well. But that gives people the access to the headsets. We are getting donations from companies that want us to partner with. For instance, HTC has donated, as well as us talking to a couple more right now that I don't want to disclose over the call, but
That's fine.
they
Are
want
the headsets, oh, pardon, are the headsets, you're not producing hardware, correct? These are you're licensing these, or you're purchasing them outright, or the
correct. And
facilities
based
are.
on the providers, like the medical providers, if they want a premium headset because they're a luxury dental office, they can get a premium headset.
Got it. I liked your statement about nose training. I thought that was very clever. Why focusing on the nonprofit fundraising piece initially? It would seem that there would be more startup budget for you in terms of brands wanting to advertise through these types of experiences and to access those types of consumers.
So we actually, if the brands want to sponsor these nonprofit stories, they're able to, but we are profit meets purpose meets passion type of conscious content. So any of the stories that we want have to raise awareness and elevate people's mood. So think about like an immersive TED Talk. So when we think about brands that want to partner with us, they're absolutely able to, but it's kind of a design of a regenerative profit model. So we're talking to a shoe company who wants to donate shoes to one of our orphanage nonprofits right now. And because she's sponsoring the story, then she will be paying for that story to be developed. Does that make sense?
It does. I was just curious. The emotional tie-in that you have with your grandma, that story is really, really compelling. Thank you for sharing that. I'm so sorry for your loss. I have a lot of more deep dive questions, but are there any other questions from those listening in? I don't want to take up all the space in the room. I think there's a little bit of polish that needs to happen on the pitch. Obviously, you're a little green on it and the company's very, very early stage, but I think there's a lot of potential here, and obviously solving a very emotional need. And the senses are such a critical piece of that. So it's a very interesting take on the VR AR experience. We have another question that came in. We have a contact for you, someone who has a private advertising network already set up for doctors' offices. So make sure you take down Todd, you're the best, Todd's information, and he'll get you connected there as well. Any other questions for Emily?
I have a question just on user experience. The scent element, how exactly is that working? I don't think I fully understood the concept from the pitch. Would for example, a doctor's office provide those? Are they part of like the package with the headset? I'm
They're
not
part
sure.
of
How
the
is the scent
hospital.
delivered?
Yeah, the hospital design box, they have the headset in there, the story QR code that you want to scan into, and then the scent that will be tied with it. And it'll be a little roller ball because we think there's an opportunity later on if people enjoy the fragrances and they want to purchase.
Okay. Any other questions? All right. With COVID concerns still on people's minds, Carmen wants to know, would people share the headphones? That's a very valid concern, Carmen. Emily, how are you addressing health cleanliness issues?
So I've been talking to different VR companies and how they've done it and doing my own market research going around. And they actually sell like, for lack of a better word, like VR condoms for the, like latex covers for them that you can change up, like the face masks basically, that you can use. Otherwise, the one-time use is an option.
Got it. You know, that's going to be the clip that our social team captures and posts, right? The VR condom. Very funny. Emily, thank you so much for your time today. Very well done. And if you could unshare and give us a screen back, please. Thank you very much. All right. Next up, we have Natalie Richards with Go Along. I had the pleasure of meeting Carmen Cifuentes with your team. at the Women Venture Summit. And I think this concept is really, really interesting and excited to learn more about it. So whenever you are ready.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, you took my first line of the presentation. We met at the San Diego Women's Venture and was invited to present through Carmen. Thank you very much, Carmen, my co-founder. Thank you very much for Fabric for inviting us today. It's a pleasure to be here. No matter how many times you pitch, this is always going to be a little nerve-wracking, but I always enjoy pitching and sharing our startup and what we're doing with everyone else. So I'll get right into it. Okay, there went to the bottom. Okay, perfect. So my name is Natalie, and I am the CEO and co-founder of Go Along. For over 15 years, I have helped small businesses develop their tech strategy. But it was through my passion for travel, when I was surrounded by the beauty and the skill of artisans, that I imagined a world where they too could thrive in a digital age. Please take a moment and imagine this. You're wandering through the historic streets of Mexico, feeling the ancient energy of the pyramids, captivating every moment to share with your friends online. And what if, when you share those travel experiences, local artisan products from the very place you visited automatically pop up on screen, ready for your viewers to buy? With Go Along, your travel stories now empower local artisans and also open up a new revenue stream for you. It's a win-win-win. Go Along is video content linked to local commerce globally. But let's go into it a little deeper. Oh, skip the most important part, the problem we got here. Our target market lacks what the other needs, and that's what makes Go Along so innovative. There's a huge disconnect for our main user, the consumer, the buyer looking for authentic handmade items. While studies show that buyers prefer to purchase with purpose, their access to these items require travel. Across the globe, over 120 million artisans craft products that tell their story of their heritage, their passion, and their skill. Yet despite their immense talent, a vast majority face barriers accessing global markets, especially in the digital age, and their online presence and reach. Go Along's third user, its traveler, becomes the missing link. With the cost of travel, they seek more ways to be able to monetize their social networks and also to do good in the communities in which they visit. And here's where the huge opportunity lies: in finding a way to connect these two powerful drivers of economy to generate network effects and rapid scale. The artisan is the second largest employer in developing countries, only after agriculture. It's a $680 billion market. When artisans join Go Along, they're not just opening an online store, they're opening doors to a world of possibilities. And with 30 million travel influencers alone, this sector brings the eyeballs the artisans need online. Our solution is a multi-sided marketplace, which has a ripple effect. Our model is threefold, creating a scenario where everyone emerges as a winner. Artisans witness a surge in their sales, expanding their reach beyond local markets and tapping into a global audience hungry for authentic handcrafted products. Travelers, not only do they monetize their journeys, but they also become ambassadors of change, promoting local craftsmanship and contributing to global good. Buyers gain access to a treasure of unique items, each with its own story, without the need to travel the globe. It's like having the world right at your doorstep. Our platform serves as the nexus, bridging the gap between conscious consumers and travelers driven by purpose. Go Along is the facilitator. How it works exactly? The only thing travelers need to do is share the link of their videos to their followers so that they can click and watch. Our technology takes care of the rest. The technology we have and algorithms then create a curated experience for viewers, adding authentic products that are geotagged by city automatically on their screen, ready for them to click and buy. Our artisan collectives then ship out the products. Artisans make 100% of their asking price. It is important for us to control fair trade and make sure that the artisans get the recognition and financial support that they need. We then upsell from there a 20% to pay the traveler commission, and Go Along upsells from there 20 to 40% to cover operational costs. So win-win-win for everyone. And our marketplace does more than just facilitate the transaction. It's a movement towards economic empowerment and the preservation of cultures and generations to come. Go Along has strong differentiators from other players in the online marketplace platforms that offer sales of handmade goods like Etsy and Amazon Handmade, as well as other social impact sites. These sites do offer handmade items, but without the video experience, without connecting them to the artisan, just selling the product without the experience behind. They don't give the artisan the hyper exposure for the items through the influencer networks that we link them to. They don't create the low barriers of entry that we have, allowing artisans to onboard products and their profiles directly through WhatsApp. Internationally, and having traveled to Mexico, everybody has WhatsApp, and it's an easy way for them to be able to onboard their products. We give artisans their own dashboard where they're able to upload their products and videos, and we give influencers ability to tag items from our catalog directly to their videos in a very easy way. Okay. As proud alumni of Founders Institute, we have done the groundwork. We have raised $170,000 from friends and family and built our MVP. We tested it and made the necessary pivots in our revised version we have now. We have partnered with artisan organizations and built our database of artisan products and stories. We have negotiated deals with key players in the influencer marketing space, and our primary objective is now to propel Go Along into the next crucial phase: market penetration, onboard our influencers. We also have been granted our Go Along trademark. Mexico is our launch country, and now we scale worldwide with 2,000 travel influencers from our influencer platforms such as Hepsi, which alone has 300,000 on Instagram, 230,000 on YouTube travel influencers. Just having 2,000 of those, which an average of 2,000 followers, we would have an estimated 4 million viewers onto the platform. 3% convert, which is an industry standard, gives us 7 million in sales on year one, which is an average price of order of $60. Our travelers are mainly from the US, our buyers mainly from the US, with travel videos from Mexico and handcrafted items from Mexico for this phase. Our unique growth strategy hinges on achieving network effects. As more users, especially travel influencers, join and engage on our platform, the value of our service multiplies. Our team, it consists of Latina female founders based in San Diego, California, a team of committed professionals with sweat equity investing agreements. Many have already unicorn exits in the tech startup space. It's time to make a real difference. We invite you to go along with us as we raise $500,000 for our one-year runway to hire targeted travel influencers to jumpstart our growth hack strategy and add Instagram features into our current technology. We have also worked with mentors and professional grant writers and are pending response for grants such as the USAID Development Innovation Ventures Grant, which would give Go Along access to non-diluted funds. Every investor loves non-diluted funds. By investing in Go Along, you're not just investing in a tech startup, you're investing in a global vision, a brighter, more inclusive future for millions. We invite you to go along with us as we revolutionize the way artisans connect to global consumers today, boosting opportunities for prosperity and self-reliance through the technologies we create for everyone and in every country. My name is Natalie with Go Along Travels, and I thank you for your time.
Very well done and perfectly timed, Natalie. And I thought you handled your tech staggering, very sophisticated, very well done. Didn't let it phase you. I just had a couple questions, and again, everyone, please add your questions in the chat as well. So the artisans directly drop ship the products, correct?
Yes, correct. They drop ship them all to our warehouse in San Diego, where we repackage, rebrand, and check quality before we send them off to last mile.
Got it. B, do you want to unmute and ask your question? You're welcome to join us live. B is one of our VC fund partners over at Divergent Ventures.
Yes, hello. And I got a new computer yesterday, so apparently I really need to move where my coffee cup is going to. And also Malik and Bennett did just say yes, they're coming, so that's really great as well. Anyway, so my two questions are really just around this idea of cost, right? So on first blush, I think, okay, well, the margins there sound very, very intriguing. However, I start thinking about how much it costs to store, large buckets of data, and video content is really, really large buckets of data. So I'm kind of curious about that. I'm also kind of curious about the infrastructure to get that content, right? Because presumably, as you continue to expand, you'll be doing so in countries that have less than ideal bandwidth speeds. And so how do you actually make sure that you get content in the quality, right, that you can attract those types of influencers is a part of my thought process as well.
Okay, cool. So we have partnered with certain influencer platforms that actually have all the influencers that are creating specific content with specific engagement in specific countries that we need. And so as soon as we're ready to open market in one of those areas, we just go straight to them. And then these videos currently are hosted on YouTube and linked into Go Along through an iframe. And then we add the products underneath. So we're not hosting them currently. We did have that in our first version and switched over to pivot in that area because it's just so much simpler. But eventually we will host our own content through the platform itself and allow them to actually create the video from Go Along directly. Right now it's hosted through YouTube.
Okay, then I have one quick follow-up.
Yeah.
So then how do you, because it seems like community is a huge part of the value of this, right? So you have to have maintain a really healthy community in order to make this work. Now, I'm thinking about my YouTube feed, and my YouTube feed might be a little bit different than most people's because it's usually like 90s R&B singers singing down because that's what I like. Okay. But a lot of things seem a little random, right? And so I could see myself ending up with one of these videos and looking at it and liking it, but never actually going anywhere else to check out that piece, to buy that piece. So have you thought about how do you actually maintain that community when you are posting somewhere else?
I don't know if I understood the question exactly, but I'll give another use example. Like for example, chefs that have recipes of spices in India and that they're unique spice and also want, their viewers to be able to purchase these local items that are, all over the world, being able to have access to all of these kind of items. So even being R&B music and things, it could be local commerce linked to video content and many different use cases. Travel, and it was mentioned in one of the other pitches, it just makes sense to be the first one because it's so just already used and there's so much travel content already and it already inspires and these people are already in the places, that are creating the content that we need. So that was the first use case.
Thanks, Natalie. And thanks, B. I'm going to jump in real quick. Yeah. Is there an issue of scale? Like, let's say this takes off the way that you want it to take off, God willing. How do these artisans who only produce a small amount actually scale this up so it's not overwhelming to them?
Yeah, so we have looked at this piece and we are working directly with Aid to Artisans and Collective Learning, which is two really big global organizations that handle artisan collectives. And the way artisan collectives, they work a little bit different. For example, if they're going to make a dress, one lady makes the sleeves, one lady makes the embroidery, one lady puts it together, one lady adds the final touches. And so together, they're able to mass produce a lot more pieces than they would normally be able to do together. And they're already doing this. So we are just pretty much linking work that they're already doing. A lot of these organizations, including Aid to Artisans, was getting them product pictures and getting them onto the website, but then didn't have the eyeballs to get the sales. And so a lot of them are getting the money and the funding to be able to get them their online presence, but from there, they're missing that last piece. And that's where the travel influencer comes in and links that last piece that they need.
Got it. Thank you so much. We're at time. Natalie, if you could unshare and give us the screen back, please. Thank you so much. Well done.
Thank you.
All right, this is what we're going to call the 7th inning stretch. So sitting is quietly killing all of us. So I'd like everyone to stand up and just do a little bit of a stretch. Get up out of their seats. Make sure that you're getting the blood flowing. You can put your cameras on or off, up to you. But I don't know about you. Sitting for 2 hours is a lot. So let's make sure that we get the blood flowing and that we're not, getting fat in our chairs. All right. Thank you for sticking with us. We've got 3 more really exciting pitches. This next one, I'm a personally big fan of. I'm a fan of everyone, let's be honest. But Miles and I have known each other for some time now. The product is fantastic. He's been on the podcast as well. And Miles Powell with Miles Comfort Foods is next up. So Miles, I'm going to give you the floor.
Awesome. Good to see you again, Laura, as always, and I appreciate the invite. Let me share my screen. This is the part I got to make sure it goes right.
Always like, no pressure. Just live in front of a bunch of people, kind of do tech support. There you go.
Sure. All right. Now, sometimes when I go full screen, it kicks out the screen share. So if that's the case, just let me know.
You're good.
But you can see that okay, right?
Yep.
Awesome. Well, like I said, it's great to be here. Hi, everyone. My name is Miles. I am the co-founder and CEO of Miles Comfort Foods. And we like to say that we make real food that's frozen and not frozen foods. And I always start with just the highlights of what's been happening. 2022 was our best year to date. We grew at 150%, finished revenue at $330,000, and we were featured in over 1,000 retail door locations. And we're talking about some of the powerhouses in terms of retail. So Target, Whole Foods, Giant Company, Moms, just to name a few. And what we did was we took everything we learned in 2022, looked at the market, and we saw an even bigger opportunity. And so we decided to actually rebrand. And so in a little less than 5 months of actual operations this year, we did about 240. Well, we're going to be doing about 240,000 in revenue, which is pretty significant growth if you annualize it. And the reason we're seeing this success and this type of growth is because we're solving this, what I call the millennial problem, right? What's happening is, we've got busy lifestyles, and that's collided with the rising costs of home cooking and ordering out. And so you're seeing that, folks are still requiring convenience. But when it comes to the frozen food aisle, which is the home of convenience, we're expressing a lack of quality and clean options in frozen foods. And so that's where we come in. So we are a clean and premium comfort food brand that's elevating the entire frozen food landscape through the marriage of quality and convenience. Now, when I say clean, I want to make this very clear. We're not saying healthy, because we've got a line of macaroni and cheese. And let's be frank, mac and cheese should not be quote unquote healthy. But when we say clean, we're talking about all recognizable ingredients. And if you know anything about frozen foods and its history, it's typically filled with harmful additives, ingredients that you cannot pronounce. But that's not the way that frozen food should be, because freezing food is just nature's way of preservation. And so our line of mac and cheese is homemade quality, made with premium local ingredients. And by nature of that, it's actually a high source of protein. Our home style mac and cheese features 23 grams of protein in a single serving, which is the highest in the category. And we have seen a very high consumer demand for protein-enriched meals. And for us, as we are in the retail space, in the Targets, in the Giants, that's just a small piece of what we're actually building. Uh, One of the big opportunities for us that I would really want to focus on is food service. We as a community, as a people, we don't just consume food from grocery, right? Our kids at school, in hospitality, during travels, at hotels. That's a very huge market that we plan to add to our portfolio as we expand. Private label, that's another key area for us as we look to diversify our entire portfolio. And then, of course, direct to consumer. Now, being a frozen brand does present its challenges in that space. But once again, we're talking about convenience and still high quality meals. And so we do also have direct to consumer in our future pipeline. In terms of projections, like I said, we did have 2022 was our best year to date. But beyond 2023, we do anticipate pretty substantial growth. And I'll get into why that is later, but that's a mix of B2B to C, B2B to C, which is our retail partnerships, but also with food service and the aforementioned direct to consumer channel. Now, in terms of margins, one of the reasons we rebranded was to establish a healthier margin. And I'm proud to say that, our product line on average is 55%, which is way above the category average. Retail price of our mac and cheese is $7.99, which puts ourselves as a premium brand. However, it is in line with the new emergence of frozen foods in our category that, yes, require a higher price point to reach that quality, but the consumer has proven that they're willing to pay for that price for real food. And just to reiterate on traction, a ton of retail partners already, and I'll get into our future partnerships in a bit here. But also, one of the things I love to say is that we're partnered with a couple of colleges. University of Delaware, my alma mater, we're serving our mac and cheese with them. Swarthmore College out of Pennsylvania is another one, and we're looking to expand on those partnerships over the next few years. Now, in terms of just overall market, right? CPG alone is in frozen, huge, $17 billion market that continues to grow at a rapid rate. But then I want you to take a look at food service, and only in hospitality and college campuses, it's a $31 billion market. And once again, they're looking for items that are real, right? No longer are we going out to eat or going somewhere and getting bottom of the barrel food, right? The consumers want something more, and that's exactly where we belong. And then of course, meal kit delivery, that's another avenue for future. That was $15 billion market. There we go. In terms of team, myself, co-founder and CEO, former civil engineer that gave up that lifestyle for good. Also, I had a brief stint on the Food Network, and really started this brand because I was brought up by a family that was just filled with cooks. We all had these special moments at the dinner table, and that's what prompted me to start a food brand. Jana Godkin is our co-founder and a wealth of knowledge when it comes to operations. A lot of experience there. And then we recently brought in Dory Campbell, who is our marketing manager with a ton of experience. And we are proud to work with a ton of investors that participated in our last round. And currently, to continue our growth, we are in the middle of a seed bridge. It's a $500,000 convertible note. And this slide is a great slide to look at because it shows what that means, right? So with our seed extension, we're currently talking with Costco, Hannaford, Meijer. And so we're really focused on distribution and channel growth, but also profitability, because that is in our eye set for Q1 of 2025. In addition to the retail revenue growth and continuing to elevate on our gross margin. This is an industry that we want to be smart about, right? We don't want to just chase bottom line. We want to have a sustainable operation for the future. We did raise a $1.05 million seed round recently. And so this is a bridge on top of that. I think I skipped that. And then finally, just a summary on, why we win in this category. Growth rate, already having these partnerships established and continuing to grow that. The fact that established legacy brands are using an outdated marketing strategy. We're tailored towards a younger, or I'll say a new demographic that is now the top or the largest consumer in the group. And we have a strong founding team with a vast experience in CPG, along with a large mentor and advisor network in the space. So that's the time. I've got a bunch of information in the appendix, but would love to answer any questions you might have.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Miles. You really need to connect with Freya Estrayer on our board. She was one of the co-founders of Cool House Ice Cream, and they really know the frozen. It's a great product. They really know the frozen food category very well, so you should connect with them just in an advisory role. Make sure you ask any questions here. Oh, Sharia, you took my question. I was going to ask that question. You want to unmute and ask Miles?
Hello, thank you. I had a question. I was just wondering if in the future, you do have a vegetarian option, which is great, but I was wondering, do you have future plans to provide vegan options for this brand?
Yeah, so right now we're in innovation mode, which is fun for me because I get to just cook a lot in my kitchen and try things out.
Love it.
Yeah, so from a vegetarian standpoint, I'm actually working on a vegan chili right now, and we do have a vegan mac and cheese recipe. Like, it's there, it's just a question of when and how. Because we want to, make sure that we are smart about how we position ourselves as well.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Thanks, Sharia. Thanks, Miles, for that answer. That was actually my top question was, since you are targeting millennials, it would seem that a vegan option would be really appropriate. You mentioned it being a super protein or the optimized protein option on the market right now. Does it say that on the packaging currently?
With protein, it's really funky, and you might know this, but you have to get certain testing done to make a protein call out on the front of the packaging, and it's quite expensive. But that we're doing that next year, and it's the way they qualify the meats in it, or in 2 of our products that have meat. But that's on our next pack change.
Fantastic. Alicia says vegan option or allergen-free option would be great. I'm sure you're thinking about all of that. You had talked about your average margin being 55%. Was that because you were able to scale in this last year in a bigger way with these doors that you're now in? Because I know your margins were not that when we first spoke. So I know that's a big shift for you.
Yeah, now when people ask me about margin, I'm happy to answer. I wasn't before. It's a combination of new co-packer that is more well equipped to handle the volume that we need. And then during the rebrand, we tweaked our recipe, and honestly, we ended up going with a higher SRP because we needed to. So we really leaned in on premium, right? Before we were kind of middle of the pack, but those combined allowed us to have a healthier margin.
Thank you. We had a question. Is the food organic?
So it is, I'll say it's inherently non-GMO, but the certification process, as you probably guessed, is very long and very expensive. Not organic, but it's something that we have considered, but it would just come with a lot of effort in terms of the paperwork and all that stuff.
Got it. Sounds like it's on the roadmap, but not a priority currently.
Correct.
Got it. Carmen asks, how complicated is the manufacturing process of your food? Interested in that process.
Yeah, so the mac and cheese is not complicated. And the reason it's not is because it's home cooked food, right? We're just scaling it up for mass distribution. And we're fortunate that our co-packer does meals already. And so when we worked with them, it was sort of it fit like a glove. And it allows us to continue to scale and increase our margins that way. Now, some of our future items or products may not be as, I'll say, less complicated as we continue to innovate, but our base 3 mac and cheeses are not complicated.
Does that mean that it would be easy for someone else to enter the category?
So in terms of what's out there now, we're really trying to stamp ourselves as being the heritage inspired brand. So we're leaning heavy on how we talk about ourselves and our use case to separate ourselves from being just another product.
That's a great answer. I think the last question is, you're in a lot of new doors. How are your sell-through numbers there?
So we are just getting data because some of these are newer, with our new brand there, we're getting new data. And so we're seeing now where we're doing really well. So we've got a couple of stores in Vermont where we're selling a case a week, right? And then we've got stores in, maybe in Philadelphia that are not doing as well. So now we're trying to figure out the whys and hows. And we know, number one, demo support is crucial. So we need to get people to try the product because our goal is to sell at least 4 units per SKU per store per week. And our plan is to get there by the end of Q1 of next year.
Fantastic. Miles, thank you so much. Always a pleasure to see you.
You as well. Thank you.
Thank you. If you could give us the screen back, please. Thank you much. All right, moving right along. Gigi would like me to remind you all to add any additional feedback in the link that she's provided. This is super important and super, super helpful to the founders. Maybe you don't want to talk in the room. Maybe you don't want to put something in the chat, but you had something that was a burning question, or maybe you have an expertise that we don't have on the founder or the funder side. So please provide feedback as needed. Great job, Miles. All right, 2 more to go. Are we having fun yet? Having a good time? Good. That was really the intention here, was to like bring you into our process as a fund one, close one. Like, this is really interesting for us, and we thought it would be interesting for all of you to be involved, like, kind of from the very beginning to when we're starting to write checks. So we hope you're enjoying the process there as well. All right, next up we have Ana Luisa. I'm not going to attempt your last name because I don't want to butcher it, but if you could share your screen. That's Imply, correct?
Hi everyone. Yes, that's correct. Thanks so much.
Will you pronounce your last name for us, please?
Sorry, it's Shafgoch. It's quite hard.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. The screen is yours.
Okay. Can you see my screen? Here we go. Perfect. Great. Thanks for having me today. It's really great to be here, and a pleasure to present from our side. I'm Ana Luisa, in short, Louis, which is much easier, and Shafgoch as last name. And I'm the CEO and founder of Imply. And what we want to do at Imply is revolutionize healthcare, and with real-time diagnostics. About 30% of people in the world suffer from chronic diseases and diseases all over. But as most of you know, when you go to the doctor and you draw blood, that actually gives you a point in time information, but it doesn't give you time over the period that you need time. And not having real-time information actually leaves patients sicker for longer and increases the cost in the healthcare system. So what we developed is a tiny implantable platform that enables us to monitor biomarkers in real time with the use of a mobile phone that reads the data out. We span the technology out of Imperial College in London and have been building this for the last 3 years. The technology works with near-field communication that enables us to use every smartphone as a reader, and we work with aptamer technology to do the sensing part. Our team is a world-leading expert team and has published over 1,000 papers altogether in this space. We've spent the last 15 years in this space, most of us, in different areas. My expertise is in biotech. That's what I studied. I then spent the last 10 years in the life sciences sector, commercializing different technologies. Salzitza, my co-founder, has been in research at Imperial College, which is where we spun the technology out of. And Heath has been building manufacturing businesses for the last 10 years in novel manufacturing lines. And Jason has a couple of businesses previously in South Africa and financial overview. But most of all, what we did over the first 6 months of running this business is look at this market and say, with the technology that we have, that we spun out, what is the first applicable market where we can deliver the most poignant impact for people and deliver better precision care that enables us to deliver better treatment. And what we've chosen is the IVF space in fertility monitoring, for several reasons. A, because this allows us to go into a much bigger market later on, monitoring hormone levels. So we monitor progesterone, estradiol, and luteinizing hormone in real time. This is not only an application for IVF treatment, where this is very relevant, but also an application in many other fertility-related diseases, such as polycystic ovaries or endometriosis or just contraception, the menopause, where hormone monitoring becomes extremely relevant. during an IVF treatment specifically, we have a very high value market, but also a market where we can deliver a lot more precision for a lot better outcomes for women. So currently, when a woman goes through an IVF cycle, she gets drawn blood every 2 days, sometimes every day, depending on the clinic that she goes to. On the basis of that data and some other data points, the doctor personalizes that treatment, and the success rates after that are about 15 to 30%. Which are relatively low. So what we can do with our device is improve this journey, not only by providing more convenience, of course, with our device, a bit like with glucose monitoring devices, you don't have to go into the clinic every day to draw blood. That saves women a lot of time of their day, especially when they've already have childcare, or when they're, just have to do their normal jobs. Right, going into the clinic every day is tricky. That's where we provide convenience, but much more importantly, we provide a lot more data to clinicians than they currently have, and therefore can work on improving treatment cycles or improving dosing mechanisms for drugs with the data that we have to enable us to do this. As I mentioned, this market isn't just an IVF market, but allows us to go from a very high value market, which is the IVF market, where women spend $10,000 to $20,000 per cycle to reach the success rates, but also allows us to progress into other markets that are much larger in size, with the same regulatory approval and the same product. So the female health market, besides, of course, we're female founded, we're 70% female founded. We all had an experience with hormone monitoring that allowed us to have a vested interest in getting this to the market and understanding of why it's so important. But most of all, it allows us to gather enough scale to make this a highly profitable business and grow further. Because the market in hormone monitoring was starting with a 1.8 billion SAM, which is an infertility treatment, and growing to $1 trillion market in the general hormone monitoring space. So that obviously also includes men who also have the same hormone as women. And later go into a much larger market where we can adapt our sensors to monitor, for example, in the oncology space, where we can monitor oncology markers or kidney disease markers and go beyond this. There are different competitors on this market. We have competitors, of course, on the technological side. That's more the glucose monitoring devices. However, they're not adaptable in the hormone space. So I will give an overview of competitors in our commercial market. There's, for example, urine sticks. They have been proven not to be accurate enough for precision medicine. So for example, IVF treatment or other drug kind of related outcomes of treatment to personalize. None of the IVF clinics currently really actively use urine data in exchange for blood draws. And this really gives us an opportunity to deliver very accurate data and very clinically relevant data. Of course, there are competitors on the wearable side, but they don't have the accuracy either, because they use temperature as a metric, which doesn't give precise amount of hormone levels data that a doctor will need to actually provide precision medicine and personalized medicine. So actually understand where levels are in that space. We collaborate with one of the largest fertility clinics in the US called US Fertility. They own about 20% of the market. They both support us in clinical trials as well as in a go-to-market. And the way that we plan to go to market and build up a business model is in a B2B2C model. This is a very proven model in the IVF space, where we sell to clinics and clinics sell to patients. We aim to sell the devices at $1,200. This is benchmarked at what women already spend today on blood draws. So we would be a replacement cost rather than an add-on cost. And further, we have an opportunity later on to help women with data, so add premium features onto our application. So that's of course like overlapping with nutrition or other use cases in lifestyle, and of course also with IVF clinics, helping them to improve their protocols through selling data products that we can deliver. Over the last 2 years, we've had multiple milestones that we climbed. We closed our pre-seed round of 1.2 million. We opened our laboratories. We completed the team build. We're now 9 people. We've secured our license from Imperial Property. We filed more intellectual properties just under our company. We've completed our first manufacturing line and process. And our first animal trials, and have of course signed up major clinics. So what we want to do now is raise 5 million so that we can go into human trials, that we can go through regulatory approval, and then ultimately in 2026 go to market with another Series A raise. Thank you very much.
So fascinating. Thank you so much. Lots of questions for you. I think this is it's pretty mind-blowing to think about this. And I do truly believe, as I'm sure many people on this call do, that precision medicine is certainly the future. The delivery model that you've created is very unique. So we have a couple questions. Can you expand on the degree of accuracy of the data collected by the implant?
Yeah, so the data that we've collected so far in our in vitro trials, our in vivo trials just being analyzed, is that we are more accurate than ELISA tests that are out there at the moment. So ELISAs are currently being used for quick information on blood draws, or it's the kind of like more affordable way of doing it, and many clinics use that too. And so we benchmarked against this, and what we can see is that we both have a higher sensitivity of the data, so can tell changes in hormones much more accurately than ELISAs. We also have a much larger range, which is extremely important for IVF treatment, because you have quite unnatural varying ranges of hormones during an IVF cycle, because you obviously have synthetically driven hormones through your body. So that's really what we showed so far with our platform.
Fantastic. Thank you. Sally, if you just joined us, could you please mute yourself? Thank you. What protections do users have for their data? We had a couple questions in here about privacy and data, which I'm sure you get all the time.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's really important to us. We are a data facilitator. We're not a data owner. The data owner is the owner of the implant. That is an important part for us. We use several different methods of encrypting the data, both when it's read out of the device and then obviously staying encrypted on our platform. So that the data can't be read if in case there's a data breach. I mean, every digital health company has the same issue on this front the minute it's on the platform. And of course the data can be shared by the user. We want to provide products for women or for clinics using the data, but we don't want to own the data to give data out. I think that's probably most people's concern is around what do you do with the data, but kind of adding analytics products, it's really our future way.
Thank you. I know it's a little bit early, but do you know how insurance carriers would cover the device? And well, let's start with that question. How are you going to approach the insurance companies?
Yeah, one of the really interesting parts about the IVF space, and we as a company hope that will change in the future, is that IVF is not reimbursed, right? It's mainly privately paid. So our go-to-market benefits from that because we save the time of building the reimbursement strategy, right? Because we can go direct to market after FDA approval. We are hoping to be able to work with insurers once they start insuring. I think there's quite a few private insurers like Carrot, for example, that work with, with some of the larger companies out there to insure their women, but they don't necessarily make the decision on the technology itself yet. In the future, of course, we hope that is the case. We hope we get in a reimbursement code, and we hope that all women get the opportunity to have access to this technology.
Yes, that's a whole nother conversation we can have at a different time. Next question is, so it looks like the implantation was underarm, is that correct? Where the location is? How easy is the implantation and removal option? And my additional question to that is, does it travel? Have you seen any instances where the piece has traveled?
So we implant in the upper arm. That's very similar to kind of glucose monitoring devices, but also it's very similar to the contraceptive implant, if you're familiar with that. We stuck very closely to the procedure lines of the contraceptive implant because it allows us to slot into a process in the care system that already exists. Most gynecologists are already trained on this, have done both implantations and explantations, and so that allows us to piggyback on that. We work with several companies that provide kind of devices that help to remove it without any pain, so that we can do that quickly. It's a subcutaneous implant, so it sits 2 millimeters under the skin. This is not a deeply sitting implant. This is also not a long-lasting implant. We last over 1 cycle that a woman goes through, which means it's not like the contraceptive implant where you have it for 3 years and then remove it, which is a little bit more tricky. We haven't seen any travel with the devices. We don't expect for the time that we are inside the body to see that.
Thank you. I think we're out of time, but I have a connection point for you as well. Have you talked to the Mate Fertility team? They actually have clinics doing a lot of this work. I think Tracy Keene would be a fantastic contact for you. So
yes,
circle back with me afterwards. Oh, you. Great. Fantastic. All right. Can we have the screen back? Thank you so much, Anna. You did fantastic. Such an interesting market. I've got quite a few connections actually for you. I messed up because this is live TV, and I actually put Anna in front of the other pitch, which was Farnoosh. So I messed up the order. Sorry, Gigi, for giving you a heart attack. Thank you for being flexible. And the next up is Farnoosh Padavi with Bala Enzyme. And I'm glad to say I have them here. I tried them this morning. They're delicious. And I'm interested to hear what you've got to tell us. Farnoosh, take it away.
Hi, thank you so much. I just want to thank Laurel and the panel to give me a chance to the opportunity to pitch today. Thank you so much. So my name is Farnoosh Padavi, and I'm a retired dental surgeon in Southern California. I practiced for over 20 years, and the story started on Bala. Let me just actually share my screen if you don't mind. Okay, perfect. Are you able to see that?
We are. Do you want to go full screen so we can see each page individually, please?
Sure. Perfect. Is that good?
That's good.
Perfect. So, excellent. So, actually, the Bala story started that when I was at Boston University doing my postgraduate study, I was actually doing research on bromelain enzyme, looking for an alternative to pharmaceutical to reduce inflammation and bruising after oral surgery on patients' faces. And bromelain is a very potent enzyme that I did the research. So I brought that into my practice for 20 some years and used bromelain enzyme, as an alternative to pharmaceutical on my patient. And I took that basically all the research from clinical research and clinical study at the office and basically did the formulation of Bala. In 2018, I was in an accident and, I got severely injured and I was forced to retire early in life. And since I'm very sensitive to pharmaceutical and I was left with chronic pain, I had to make sure that I finished the formulation of Bala and brought it into the market. Bala has changed my life in recovering, and it was a goal for me to tell my story and my formulation, bring it to the world and introduce it to everybody. And the name Bala comes from first word of balance, because I feel like having no inflammation in life, your life can be balanced and you could be much happier. So let's take you to the next. So what it is, we are rehydrating, recovering, and relief. We are actually a powder that is helping you with recovery and hydration. So we're very unique. So Bala is the world's first and only nutrition powder mix that is made with patent pending blend of plant-based enzyme, turmeric, and electrolyte that addresses the need for natural pain relief solution. Bola is combined with inflammation relief and hydration in one. It is an alternative to pharmaceutical to reduce inflammation. It has great taste, is all natural, and has zero sugar. The category is fast, very big, and we are looking into primary addressable market, into anti-inflammatory therapeutic market, which is very vast, and secondary addressable market is powdered hydration market. As you see in that picture, our ingredient are turmeric, which everybody is familiar with that, and bromelain enzyme, which comes from core of a pineapple that everybody toss and nobody use it, and papain enzyme, which is coming from papaya fruit. So it's all natural, and we have 3 different flavors, and the function we're doing is basically we support muscle recovery, we support joint function, and help with hydration. And papain enzyme has other property that helps with gut health as well. So talking about our traction and distribution is through DTC and brick and mortar. DTCs are basically website and Amazon, which we are 270% up comparing to last year. Our focus is natural channel retailers. We are contracted with Presence Marketing, which is the biggest natural broker. And currently we are distributing through Threshold, Unify, and KeHE. We are over 1,200 retailers store at this time, and we're hoping due to all pending listing that we get to 2,000 retailer store by end of this year. Our full chain listings are Sprouts Farmers Market nationwide. We are at Mother's Market, Clark's Nutrition, Bristol Farm, United Market Street, Healthy Edge Group, Earth Fare, Kimberton, Whole Food, Chamberlain, Market of Choice, Central Market, Rayleigh's, Green Acres Market, Fresh Time, Plum Market, Mom's, Marlene, and others. At Sprouts, we're doing really good, and Spin's data shows that we are selling 200 plus unit per week. We are sitting next to other hydration, but we are actually very unique because other hydration is only sodium and potassium, but we are having 20 different ingredients actually that we are sitting next to them. So we do have recovery plus the hydration. We have pending listing in Whole Food, Publix, HEB, Kroger, QFC, Myers, and Erewhon. Our margins are 47%, and we have clear path to 60% by 2025. And this is all our retail margin. I need to add in that our D2C margin is up mid 70s. So we're doing much better as far as the DTC. The Bola team is small but dedicated. So it consists of me, that I'm founder and the president, that I'm putting different hats and I'm working many hours a day. My husband, he's a periodontist as well, and he's a CEO. We are very lucky to announce that Ken Sadowski, he's very famous and they call him Beverage Whisperer. He is actually sitting in our advisory board, and he's an investor. We have Karen McCarthy that she's full-time, and she's head of sale, and she works in a bigger company and smaller companies. Matt Kahn is head of sports and athletic partnership, and Jeff Rubinstein is an advisor in sales and marketing, and he's an investor as well. Our seed round is for 2 million. We have raised over $1 million, and we are asking for 845,000. Pre-money valuation is 5 million. The term of raise is preferred stocks, and the money that we are actually asking for is going to be used for manufacturing, for demo and merchandising, promotional activities to support the brand on shelf, sales and marketing. And we are actually, thank you so much for listening, and we are looking for partners to take Bala to the next level. I know I finished,
Thank you.
so
better early than late. So thank you so much.
Sure.
Any questions for Bala? I did taste the product. My question is, what is the sugar substitute that you're using?
The sugar is actually we using stevia leaf, which is all plant-based.
Got it. And I didn't see any actual studies in here. Have there been any studies that you could pinpoint to the recovery pieces that you mentioned?
Yes, the recovery pieces, actually there is a lot of studies that has done separately on bromelain, on papain, and on turmeric, but not all of them together. We have a study in our office that because we're dentists, we used we probe the inflammation of the gum. And then patient when use, bromelain and Bala, we probe them back in a couple of weeks, and the probing, which shows the inflammation on the gum, is much less. So we are actually using that for our patent. Our patent is actually around the technology and absorption of our brand, which normally in case of turmeric, if you heard, people use black pepper in order to absorb turmeric, and in case of a lot of other hydration, people are using sugar to absorb that. We are using actually amino acid transport pump, so we're using a specific amino acid at a specific dose that help actually absorb all these material through the gut, which is much more effective. And a lot of other pharmaceutical, they're using amino acid transport pump. So this is very unique in our formulation, and that's what we are getting our patent on, hopefully mid 2024.
Thank you. I have a question about where is manufacturing?
Our manufacturing is in Florida.
Fantastic. Thank you. I really, I think you can lean into the technical pieces a bit more in the pitch, because I think the studies around hydration and the specific enzymes and things that you're using are really fascinating. And since most of your founding team are doctors, I would definitely double click into that a little bit more. I also really liked the storyline around the core of the pineapple, and I think there's a marketing component there in terms of using upcycled fruits, if that is in fact what you're doing. That's a very interesting angle.
Yeah, the bromelain, everybody toss bromelain. Middle of the core of the pineapple, there is full of enzyme bromelain that is really helping, is actually very much is very strong anti-inflammatory. So it does even help you as a bronchodilator. So a lot of people who are in Olympic, they're very familiar with it because they do give it to them as a recover fasting for their breathing and lungs. So a lot of swimmer, they use bromelain enzyme. So it's something that is very much actually people who use it and they're in heavily sport area, they are very familiar with. Our product has a little bit less sodium and potassium comparing to other actually hydrations. And the reason being is because as a doctor, when we formulated, we feel like we have enough, as an Americans, we have enough salt in our food, in everyday food that we're consuming. So a lot of people who have cardiovascular diseases or high blood pressure, by having other type of hydration, such as liquid IV or other ones, they may actually get more swelling and more problem with their cardiovascular issues. With ours, it's just enough to give them enough hydration, but of course not to cause any other issue as far as health benefit. So we feel like our hydration plus recovery powder drink is much healthier choice for everybody out there, because either diabetic patient, they can benefit from, you know, our product, versus a lot of other hydration out there is full of sugar that they cannot use.
Well, certainly a very interesting category, liquid IV obviously being the leader in the space, but I believe that Vital Proteins just sold for like $3 billion or something along those lines. So all these like recovery methodologies through powders is a really interesting category. It sounds like you've had some great traction. So thank you so very much, Farnoosh. If you could give us the screen back, please. Very well done.
Of course. Thank you so much.
All right. So thank you for sticking along with us on this fun journey. This is our very first time. Would love any feedback from you, please, in terms of how we can make it more engaging. I wish we could do like 20 in a row and like give everyone like 3 minutes to just pitch really fast. Maybe we could do like a speed pitch or something in the future. But this was really fun. I hope that you had a good time. There is a link again in the chat. Please fill it out and provide feedback. I think we wanted to do like 5 minutes of feedback to then pick a winner for the pitch today. So there's no prize, it's just an ego thing. But we just wanted to get everyone's feedback on whose pitch was strongest and who had the most conviction in terms of their product pitch. So G, can you play us in some music? In the meantime, if you've already done the form, any other questions you have about Fabric, about the VC world, we've got some really fantastic people on here. I see Mark Wald. Mark, thank you for joining us. So great to see you. All right, if you could please fill out the form. All right, so we went through all the founders. We have the stretch break. Here's our upcoming events as you're filling things out. Please mark your calendars. Our next event, virtual pitch event, will be February 21st, followed by May 15th, August 21st, and November 20th. So we have the whole year planned, and Amanda will send invitations to all of you as well as reminders. She keeps our head on straight here at Fabric. Other than that, any feedback and questions are absolutely welcome. And please make sure you give feedback to the founders in the room today. That's really why they're here. Lucas, thank you for joining us. Everyone, thank you so much for your time. Has everyone filled their forms out? Gee, do we have a consensus?
Will we get
Yes,
the
Natalie.
feedback, the founders, will we get the
Absolutely,
feedback that was sent from the, okay, cool. Very cool. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. That is the entire point here, is to make sure that if someone wasn't comfortable or confident giving feedback in this platform, that you can get some feedback, you know, in the through the forums. Absolutely. Thank you, Carmen. I really appreciate your feedback there. Leslie, thank you as well. I mean, it's so interesting when you cover so many different markets, right? So we do a lot in consumer tech and consumer, and then we've got to carve out for future of healthcare and future of workspace. That was really interesting, seeing the difference between like a consumer pitch versus like a health tech pitch. I thought Anna's was fantastic. I mean, everyone was so inspiring and great. I feel very lucky to be doing this work and couldn't do it without each and every one of you. So, oh, I see Gemma. Hi, Gemma. Welcome. Gee, do we have a consensus?
We've got 3 responses so far, so I'll just give it a little bit of a minute.
There's
There's people giving feedback, so I'll give it a minute.
Maybe we'll do a follow-up email with everyone so that people don't have to wait on the call. If you know one thing about me, it's that I am always on time. So I want to make sure that we never run over and we're really respectful, because we know that taking 2 hours out of any day is really a lot to ask. So I think we'll just send a follow-up email with that, G, if people need a little bit more time to fill out all those forms. So with that, I'll wrap up. We will send out follow-up to all of the founders who pitched with your forms. If we get those back, we'll let you know who won, and we will send out invitations for the next entire year of virtual pitches. So thank you so very much for trusting in us here at Fabric and joining us along this very exciting journey. And we'll be deploying capital in January, so stay tuned. Thank you, everyone.